Go back home and come in the right way.
Back to your country.
Cool, you first.
My family's been here for 4 generations.
My family's been here since the United States was Mexico.
Immigrants or the sons and daughters.
We are the descendants of 40 million people who left other countries to make a new opportunity for themselves and their children.
The lamp of this grand old lady is brighter today, and the golden door that she guards gleams more brilliantly in the light of an increased liberty for the people from all countries.
I'm convinced that the vast majority of Americans today want these people to have another opportunity.
I was in the party that welcomed generations of immigrants.
If we ever closed the door to new Americans, our leadership in the world would soon be lost.
Immigration is not just a link to America's past. It's also a bridge to America's future.
This is one country. We like our diversity. We are proud of it.
Amid all the complications of policy, may we never forget that immigration is a blessing and a strength.
These people, our neighbors, our classmates, our friends, they did not come here in search of a free ride or an easy life. They came to work.
We don't demonize immigrants. We don't single them out for attacks. We don't believe they're poisoning the blood of the country. We're a nation of immigrants, and that's why we're so damn strong.
They're eating the dogs, the people that came in. They're eating the cats. They're eating.
You guys came from Europe. How's that?
This land was conquered.
Go back to Europe. Go back to Europe. We native.
I was born in the United States of America.
But
you're from here.
Yeah, but where your heritage?
From Europe, of course.
Okay.
Where's your heritage from?
Puerto Rican, native.
They say, why is it we only take people from shithole countries, right? Why can't we have some people from Norway, Sweden, just a few? Let us have a few. From Denmark, do you mind sending us a few people? Send us some nice people, do you mind? But we always take people from Somalia, places that are a disaster, right? Filthy, dirty, disgusting, ridden with crime.
I am Muslim. I am an immigrant, and interestingly, from Africa. Is anyone surprised that I am being targeted? Is anyone surprised that I am somehow deemed unworthy to speak about American foreign policy? Or that they see me as a powerful voice that needs to be silenced? Frankly, it is expected. I am an American who was sent here, by her constituents to represent them in Congress, a refugee who survived the horrors of a civil war, someone who spent her childhood in a refugee camp, someone who knows what it means to have a shot at a better life here in the United States, and someone who believes in the American dream and the American possibility and the promise and the ability to participate in the democratic process. So I will continue to speak up because representation matters. I will continue to speak up for little kids who wonder who's speaking up for them. I will continue to speak up for families around the world who are seeking justice, whether they are displaced in refugee camps or they are hiding under their beds somewhere like I was, waiting for the bullets to stop.
Should the Defense Secretary...
What country are you? Wait, what country are you from?
From the UK.
Okay, we don't give a crap about your opinion and your reporting. Why don't you go back to your country where you have a major migrant problem?
Okay,
and you no. You should care about your own borders.
Do you care about American lives being put at risk?
Let me tell you something. Do you care about people from your country? What about all the women that are raped by migrants?
Do you care
No, by migrants. No, do you care? Okay, you're done.
Do you care about American lives being put at risk?
You know what? I don't care.
Service members fighting for your country.
I don't care about your fake news. Do you have a relevant question? Yeah, this is an American journalist. Thank you.
So that's a few weeks ago on my other account. I got 250,000 followers on my other account, but it's got banned. This fucking lady comment on my shit say, go back to China. Bitch, I born in fucking San Jose, California. I am American, an Asian American. What the fuck do I go to China for, huh? That ain't even my country, bitch. I ain't even Chinese. Why the fuck do I have to go to China? Well, if you tell me to go back, bitch, tell me to go back to fucking California. I'm in Louisiana now, you hear me? Shit, I work in fucking 70 hours per week. Bitch, do you know how much I pay taxes for that shit? Most of y'all American that stay the fuck at home and got the EBT and a fucking unemployment on some welfare shit, and y'all tell me to go back to my fucking country. Who gonna pay the taxes and give y'all the money to spend on them?
That's my shit, that's my way. Do it like that and I repeat it. Don't be scared, I ain't afraid. Just like that, come my way. That's my shit, that's my...
Go back to your country. Well, what if we did? Imagine if every black and brown person went back to their country of origin, discovered by whatever means. Here's what would happen in the first 30 days. Stick around for day 30, because that's when the truth really lands. Day 1. Hospitals, buses, supermarkets, construction sites, thousands of essential workers gone overnight. Services collapsed before the morning rush. Days 2 to 4, headlines are screaming, "Labour shortage crisis!" Schools close early, warehouses back up, food deliveries stall. Parents scramble, and businesses, they start panicking like mad. Days 5 to 7, the government hold emergency meetings, like that's gonna help. Recruitment drives fail, because there's not enough skills left in the country. Immigration police, once hostile, suddenly start looking desperate. Meanwhile, communities abroad are starting to welcome back their doctors, engineers, and teachers. Days 8 to 12, the media run frantic, start running think pieces like, what if they never come back? Stock market dips, inflation spikes, and racists who once said go back start to complain. Who's gonna run our trains? Who's gonna clean our hospitals? Like that's all we do. Days 13 to 17, the supply chain jams. Crops rot in the fields, supermarkets ration their stock, and protests erupt in major cities as prices climb and services are broken. Days 18 to 21, the Western economy buckles and investors start to pull their money. Abroad, skilled workers start to build, sparking growth across Africa, Asia, the Caribbean, and Latin America. Reverse brain drain is underway. Days 22 to 25, corporate leaders start admitting the obvious. We depended on them. Politicians try to spin the thing, but the public ain't buying it, and confidence in the government crumbles. Now who's clapping for crumbs? Days 26 to 29, the chaos deepens. Airports still half empty, hospitals still understaffed, businesses shutting down left, right, and centre. And now, commentators start saying the quiet part out loud. We asked them to leave, and now we're paying the price. Day 30, a month later, and the insult collapses under its own weight. Black and brown communities aren't the burden, they're the backbone. And now the Western world just proved it. They said go back, and in just 30 days, the irony was clear. But that's just the first month. If you want to know what happens in the first year, drop a comment below. And follow if you're done watching passively. We decode the myth, and we don't clap for crumbs.
Good day, everybody. Good day, good day, good day. Today is Friday. Another episode and another chapter of Common Sense with Vansilk. It's been a few days since I actually came out and made a couple of videos. But I want to talk about the most racist thing that anybody could say to anybody in this country who was born in this country is to go back home. If you don't like it here, go to your country. What gives anybody the right to tell somebody where to go? I think a lot of people have forgotten that you are a descent of immigrants that came here, especially you Europeans. Your family members escaped your homeland. They came to Ellis Island to look for a better life here in America. But you can sit up here and tell somebody to go back home who was actually born here. The natives, this is their land. How are you going to tell them to go back home to a place they've never been? You know, when the loudest microphone spew racism, this is what happens to those who feel they are entitled. For you being Russian or Irish or German or Jewish, or who the hell are you to tell somebody to go back to their country? Go back to Africa. I'm not from Africa. You know, like, if that's the case, then go back to Ireland. Go back to France. Go back to Italy. Why y'all want to come here? Because just remember, your ancestors in the early 1900s came through Ellis Island because they left, including Donald Trump's family. His grandfather changed his name from Drump, D-R-U-M-P-F, to Trump. From Germany. Why did you leave? America loves great Americans. No matter your nationality, where you was born, here in this country, on American soil, you are a citizen. Those who migrated here looking for a pathway to become a citizen by doing the paperwork right, that's what it's about. That's what this is about. But how are you going to do it if you got ICE agents trying to arrest you at the courthouse? See, this is a country where people get divided and they're trying to sit up here tomorrow. Oh, well, Barack Obama came in office, you know, he took it back 200 years. No, you just couldn't understand that somebody came in here and disrupt all the things that y'all was doing. See, this country is built on people stealing from each other. Scamming and stealing, just like how you stole the land from the natives. Stock trading and all this stuff is just about stealing. You scamming, inside trading. This country and all you billionaires, you rob the poor to become rich. You devalue people's land and sell it for triple and quadruple. That's why Trump had a problem in New York with Letitia, because you overvalue your property to make money. But I'm not going to get into all that today. We're going to just talk about the racist thing that you can tell somebody is to go back to their country. And I pulled out a lot of clips of people saying that. People giving their valuable point about the term of going back to your country. When the President of the United States sit up here and call Somalia shithole countries, we got a problem. We have a problem, but nobody's doing nothing about it, and nobody's checking him because everybody is spineless. But as we can see, we can move on. This is Vansilk here, Common Sense with Vansilk. I'm on YouTube, TikTok, and Rumble.com. You'll enjoy this segment. Leave a comment. I am a true American. I love America. America is a great place to live. It's just the people that's in charge and running it is making it bad. Because you can imagine what the other countries are saying about us in this across the world. We're not in a good space. When we sit up here and see the State of the Union, and this man can sit up here and just say whatever he wants, his followers will believe him. No statistics. Gas is not $1.99. Food is not cheap. But see, when you could just say that and nobody is saying, you know, you're wrong, this and that, then that's the world we live in. Because they're so busy trying to steal the midterm election so they can stay in power, but your people are not paying attention. And please, stop falling for the okie doke. It's not about the Republicans, the Democrats, it's about being a human being with some common sense. Like, no, this is wrong. I can't go for this. But it's only gonna be wrong when it affects you. As long as it doesn't affect you, it's all good. I'm out.
America cannot tell the truth about herself. If the history of this country were written, you would have to say that this country is a nation of thieves. It began by stealing this country from the red man. If I said to you that Christopher Columbus discovered America in 1492, you would say that's correct. But now here comes this honky from Spain. There are already non-white people here, and they're not existing until he comes and discovers them. Ain't that all their heroes have been white. They make you bow down to George Washington as your hero. Did they ever tell you that that honky owned slaves? Did he ever tell you that? Yeah. Not only did he own slaves, he sold a black woman for a barrel of molasses, and he's supposed to be our hero.
In the early 20th century, thousands of immigrants from Eastern and Southern Europe arrived daily at Ellis Island, exhausted from their transatlantic journey but full of hope for a new life. They said America was a land of freedom, yet here they strip us like criminals, recalled a passenger from Poland. They had traveled in overcrowded shipholds, sleeping on wooden planks, eating dry food, sharing every inch with strangers, all for a chance to reach American soil. But instead of the promised land of opportunity, they were met with lines, orders, inspections, and procedures that many found deeply humiliating. First, they were forced to undress completely without explanation, while their clothes were taken for chemical treatment, and they themselves were lined up for sanitation. "They don't ask you, they wash you," a guard muttered, waving the newcomers forward. Disinfectants were sprayed on their skin, pungent solutions that made their eyes sting, their throats burn, and their nerves fray. If anyone showed signs of lice or skin conditions, their hair was shaved off. Not just men, but women and even children. "She's just a little girl," a father cried as a health worker began buzzing off his daughter's hair. These measures were officially explained as disease prevention, aimed at stopping trachoma, tuberculosis, typhus, but the real motivations went further. To American authorities of the time, dirt wasn't just a health risk. It was seen as a sign of poverty, backwardness, ignorance, and cultural inferiority. "Cleanliness is where civilization begins," wrote one doctor in an immigration board report. Particular scrutiny was given to villagers and poor immigrants from Eastern Europe, seen as filthy, uncivilized, and a threat to the nation's identity. "If they want to live among us, they should learn to bathe first," said one inspector during a city hygiene inspection. Teaching these people American hygiene norms was viewed as the first step to civilizing them and making them fit for society. Cleanliness wasn't just a health standard. It became a social filter. If you looked neat, you were more acceptable. After the Ellis Island ordeal, the pressure to stay clean continued in everyday American life. In immigrant neighborhoods, especially in cities like New York, Chicago, and Boston, public bathhouses were set up to educate newcomers on American standards of hygiene. Free entrance, soap, towel, and hot water provided, read a sign outside a bathhouse in New York's Lower East Side. On the surface, it looked like help, like care, like opportunity. But for local reformers, it was less about kindness and more about re-education. They need to understand, smelling like sweat isn't freedom. It's a problem, said a social worker to a local newspaper. People were taught how to wash their hands, scrub their nails, wash their clothes, and in what order to use soap and water. Sometimes bathhouses offered hygiene classes, especially for women, teaching them how to care for babies, wash diapers, clean cookware, and boil bottles. Some came for practical reasons. They had no bathrooms at home. Others arrived cautiously, ashamed or annoyed that strangers told them how to live. "My grandmother bathed once a week and nobody died," said a young Hungarian worker as a health officer showed him how to brush his teeth. Hygiene control reached the schools, where immigrant children were inspected every morning before class. Teachers checked hands, ears, necks, fingernails, and sent children home for even minor signs of dirt. "Why are your nails dirty? Come back when you learn to wash," kids were told before they could even sit down. Sometimes teachers sent notes home urging parents to teach basic hygiene, and in serious cases, they called social workers to visit the family. For many immigrant families, this was painful. In their homelands, daily bathing was either impractical or culturally unnecessary. In rural Europe, water was used mostly for ritual. during holidays, church ceremonies, or sacred moments. We washed before meals and before communion. Bathing every day would have seemed strange, recalled a woman from a Ukrainian village, describing her early days in New York. But in American culture at the time, hygiene had already become a kind of civic ritual, a way to prove normalcy, success, and above all, belonging. Dirty clothes, body odor, stains on the face, these things marked you instantly as lower class, regardless of your work ethic or education. If you don't look clean, you won't get hired, no one will smile at you in a shop, and no one will trust you with a child, warned a pamphlet for new immigrants. Advertising reinforced this idea. Soap, deodorant, toothpaste were marketed as tickets to respectability. Smell clean, and they'll love you, promised a poster with a smiling, bright-eyed American girl. Over time, these norms took hold, first from fear of rejection, then from habit, and eventually from the desire to fit in. In the late 1800s, only about 3% of tenement apartments in New York had bathrooms. By the 1930s, that number had grown to almost 90%. But for immigrants, the road to that standard was unnatural and often painful. Less adaptation than pressure, surveillance, and forced compliance, all masked as progress. American society at the time truly believed that the fight against filth was more than about disease. It was a fight for moral order and a border between us and them. And for millions who arrived chasing the American dream, the first test of belonging wasn't a job or a passport or even English. It was soap.
Christopher Columbus did not discover America. How you can discover a place where the inhabitants are watching you arrive from the shore. There are actually many other mariners before Columbus that discovered America as well. Decades earlier, even eons earlier, many of these pre-Columbian explorers might have come from Africa. Columbus himself was aware that African mariners had preceded him. In his diary of his second voyage, Columbus tells of how the natives of Hispaniola actually had given him gold-tipped metal spearheads that they said were brought by black-skinned people who had come in large boats from the south and southeast. Coincidence? I think not. No. In 1493, Columbus stole all he could see. Now, Columbus continued going around whimsically renaming every island he could find. That the origin of these many place names and botanical names in Mesoamerica actually sounded distinctly like other languages in Africa. The presence of certain plants that predated Columbus but originated in Africa. For example, the calabash bottle gourds on the Congo estuary. The Portuguese, like Captain Pereira, had heard that African traders were visiting Brazil in the mid-1400s. Islamic historian Amir Hajib reported that voyages west from Mali, taking the Canary Current up and around, and then they go over they fall off the edge of the earth, and then they come back and they make landfall back again in Cape Verde. King Constantine Ravenous reported seeing blacks upon reaching the New World. Evidence, including pre-Columbian African skeletons, which have been found throughout the Americas. Now, dating between 800 BCE and 300 CE, they clearly feature three races. And it's depicting black and Indian allies and a battle against white invaders. In southeastern Mexico, there are 18 rock statues of heads up to 11 feet tall that are facing the ocean, looking east. Now, archaeologists call them the Olmec and date from at least 900 BCE when they were mysteriously buried for some reason. The smallest one was 6 tons, so 6 to 50-ton blocks to quarry them and carry them 75 miles away from the quarry, and then carve them and then erect them. Jose Meglier Serrano, the archaeologist who first uncovered them, he pointed out that facial features look amazingly like African blacks. Look at how close this is. White people don't think that you could go this is closer compared to more than twice the distance that Columbus sailed. Which state is closest to Africa? Maine. Yeah, geometry. Science. There you go.
In these United States of America, this great country of ours, we American Indians, we can be anything we want to be. except American Indians. And that is created by the laws of this nation and condoned by its subsidiaries, the so-called tribal government, and designed for the Indian to fail, to be expendable, to be eliminated. I take you back in your history. After the American Indian hostiles had been subdued and forcibly confined to Indian reservations, it took approximately 30 years, one generation, for us to adjust and become economically viable. Contrary to what the anthropologists say and what we even ourselves...
If Native Americans were here first, why aren't they considered the first Americans? Let's get real. Native Americans lived here for thousands of years, long before Columbus, the Mayflower, or the Declaration of Independence. They had nations, languages, religions, laws, agriculture, and trade. They were thriving civilizations. But when European colonizers came, they didn't come to share. They came to take. And to justify that, they dehumanized Native Americans, calling them savages, erasing their stories, and forcing them off their land. The United States was built on native land. But instead of honoring that truth, history books skipped it. Native Americans weren't even granted U.S. citizenship until 1924, nearly 150 years after the U.S. was founded. And still today, many people don't see Native Americans as real Americans. But here's the fact. Being Native American doesn't make you less American. It makes you the original.
I'm gonna tell Trump or something. I'm not leaving on a cruise. I'm not leaving on a plane. I'm not leaving on a yacht. I'm not swimming out of here. I'm going to do the exact same thing that I have been doing since 2015 when he came down that escalator. I'm going to fight. I'm going to denounce the injustices. I'm going to protest when there's protests. I'm going to be here calling it out. And besides, the two countries where I could possibly have citizenship, Nicaragua and Cuba, they're not much of a